The Lord be with you. A man was in an automobile accident and his eyes were injured. The surgeon told him that he could save one eye, but that the other eye would have to be removed and a glass eye inserted. Of course, it was a terrible moment for him. Finally, he smiled weakly and said, "All right, but if you have to put in a glass eye, please put a twinkle in it." What an attitude. I know I sure could use more of an attitude like that. Could you? Sir Francis Drake said much the same thing in a beautiful and challenging prayer. Disturb us, Lord, when we are too well pleased with ourselves, when our dreams have come true because we have dreamed too little, when we arrive safely because we have sailed too close to the shore. Disturb us, Lord, when with the abundance of things we possess, we have lost our thirst for the waters of life. Having fallen in love with life, we have ceased to dream of eternity. And in our efforts to build a new earth, we have allowed our vision of the new heaven to dim. Disturb us, Lord, to dare more boldly, to venture on wider seas, where storms will show your mastery, where losing sight of land, we shall find the stars. We ask you to push back the horizons of our hopes and to push into the future in strength, courage, hope, and love. And I would add, Lord, if you have to give us a new vision, please put a twinkle in it. Have you ever noticed that in the scriptures, the calf is always the fatted calf? The robe is always the best robe, and the joy is always unspeakable. In the scriptures, the peace always passes all understanding. The kingdom is always unimaginable, and the abundance of God's love is always lavish. Someone once said, and my apologies for not being able to tell you who, even so, someone once said, there is no grudging in God's goodness. He does not measure his goodness by drops like a druggist filling a prescription. It comes upon us in floods. At the wedding in Cana of Galilee, the water Jesus changed into wine was the very best wine. The calm which Jesus commanded upon the sea and the waves, and still offers to us today, is the very best calm. The Son God offered to a cross is the very best in all of heaven. The hope that God still offers our broken world is the very best hope. Are you beginning to see a pattern here? The very best, the very best, the very best. Even so, sometimes we can be like the drunk man who was seen by a police officer looking for something. The drunk was down on his hands and knees and explained in slurred speech to the police officer that he was looking for his wallet. The police officer inquired, "Well, where did you lose it?" The drunk man motioned with his hand as he replied, "Oh, about 2 blocks that way." The confused and amused policewoman asked, "Well, why are you searching here then?" The drunk replied, "There is no street light down there." There have been times when all of us have looked for answers in all the wrong places. Maybe that is not so unexpected as it sounds. At the wedding in Cana of Galilee, Jesus waited until their resources had run dry before he performed the miracle of changing water into wine. Only when the people came to the end of their supply were they ready to receive what Jesus had to give. Do we rely too much on our own resources, lean too much on our own understanding? When you've run out of options, when you're running on empty, when your resources are all used up, when you're at the end of your supply and on your last nerve, when we get to that place, standing there with our empty lives, you and I just might be ready to finally see God. We just might be tired enough of looking for answers in all the wrong places. As John Piper has said, the cost of food in the kingdom is hunger for the bread of heaven. The cost of the new wine that Jesus is offering is thirst. And as you stand there with your life empty, follow the instructions of Jesus' mother at the wedding when she said, "Do whatever he tells you." Do you know what will happen then? The very best. The very best. The very best. Amen.